acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, the Turrbal people of Yuggera land, as well as the Woiwurrung people of the Wurundjeri land. We recognise their continued connection to the land and waters of this beautiful place and acknowledge that they never ceded sovereignty. We respect all Turrbal and Woiwurrung elders and ancestors and any First Nations people here today.
I can't take it anymore!
Good afternoon, good evening, good day, and good morning, Blurtsters, wherever you are around the world. You are listening to the Blurt.
Good evening, Blurtsters. Yes, you absolutely are listening to the new Blurt in 2022, and what a year it's already been. We've got COVID coming out of every orifice in most of the states that are in this wonderful brown land of ours, and a little bit of green land as well, because obviously we've been getting cyclones and hurricanes up in the north in Queensland, which we will talk a little bit about. A little bit about that later. So tonight's show, anyway, we are back, and tonight we're going to go COVID countdown because a couple of angles we haven't actually explored yet. Anyway. And Nature Calls, which is a renamed segment. It used to be Beasts of Blurtdom, but I thought that was pretty lame, so we had a bit of a chat. It's now Nature Calls. See what you think of the new sting. Makes me laugh every time. Anyway, and the third one will be Do Yourself a Favour, which is all about the best potties on the web, or just the ones that Wency and myself are listening to at this particular time. Now, usually this time I would do this. So give me 1 second. Good evening, Wency!
Hello. From sunny North Queensland.
Yeah, it's sunny cyclonic, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah. We managed to miss the ex-cyclone Seth that hit this part of the world last week because I'm in Townsville for a couple of weeks for work and brought the whole family up. So we've got a little bit of a working holiday going on here. But yeah, it's been quite muggy to say the least.
Yeah, what sort of temperatures are you getting?
Only 33, 34.
Oh, only.
But it's mainly been about 31, 32 the last few days. Apparently the week before we came up, it was about 37 degrees. And the guy at work was telling me his humidity meter, I forget what the technical term for that is.
Stinking, sweaty, ballsack hot.
Pretty much. It stopped at 95%. It didn't go any higher. I think he broke the bubble.
Sorry, what was that last bit? I missed that. Sorry.
I think he broke the bubble because his little device that measures humidity got to 95% and never got any higher.
But you've got it quite nice up there, though, don't you? Because you've got a swimming pool where you are.
Yeah. We managed to find a 3-bedroom apartment complex with a couple of pools, but the pools that I've found a bit too warm, so it's almost like having a warm bath. I prefer it a bit cooler so that you can get the relief from the heat.
Yeah, no. I mean, sometimes when you get in those spas or you get in those baths that are just at that sort of tepid temperature, it almost feels just filthy. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're just in a swimming pool of sort of muck. It's just it's got that. Yeah, it's not like if it was a cold pool. It would be quite refreshing, especially when you're getting 34 and all that. Your pool is outside, is that correct?
The pool in this complex, is outside. I think there's other ones that are under the shade and that they're a little bit cooler, but there's the main pool. Most of it's out in the sun. So
Okay. So I understand that obviously the sun's going to be heating up that water, but
yes.
Is it an actual heated pool as well?
No idea.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So anyway, you're up in Townsville, and you were saying to me that you were very lucky that you missed the cyclone.
Yeah.
By day, I think.
The remnants of. So Cyclone Seth started up here north of Queensland and travelled all the way down the east coast, parallel to Australia. And as it reached towards Bundaberg and Maryborough and Gympie, which is getting closer to Brisbane, it picked up a lot of rain and winds and things like that. And Maryborough got flooded. They evacuated the CBD of Maryborough. It's a small town.
Yes, I did read about Maryborough. Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, I think a couple of people have died in the floods, caught in either trying to escape it, crossing flooded rivers or creeks, because they were found in cars. A couple of people were clinging to trees and they were saved. Thank goodness for that. So yeah, it's been quite tragic.
Yes, yeah. As I was saying at the start of the show, we've started 2022 considerably badly on many
fronts.
Yes, fronts being storm fronts, as it were.
Yes, pardon the pun.
But yes. Well, yeah, purposeful pun. But okay. So, and how have you been finding the Townsville locals up there? Can you hear any music coming out of the pubs up there? Are they in the pubs up there? What's the situation, sort of COVID wise and COVID safe wise, or do people not even know that COVID exists up there?
It's funny you say about the pubs. My partner and I were just talking about it the last few days, that because she grew up in Townsville many years ago, and everyone was at the pub back in the day, back in the 90s and 80s. Whereas now there's a lot more pub loads, and a lot of the old pubs that were in the nice old buildings have all closed down. They're either fitness gyms or turned into restaurants and things like that. So there's a lot less pubs. So I think there's a lot more people drinking at home.
Townsville's gone woke. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yes. That's because all the miners have left town.
Well, have they though? I mean,
not all of them, but yeah, it's considerably less than what it used to be. So you don't get all the fly-in, fly-outs anymore.
What were they? I mean, what was the main mining industry up there?
I know
in Townsville.
Palmer had a mine out close, well, not close, but out west somewhere for nickel and things like that.
Right. I was going to say, I didn't think it was coal up that far, but I don't know enough about where the coal mines are.
But in terms of COVID and the people out this way, we've found the people quite nice. We've gone to a few department stores and small stores, and we've actually found them to be quite customer service focused. They're very friendly, asking if we needed any assistance, to shout out if we needed any help.
That'd be hard. You got your mask on.
Yeah, quite pleasant.
It'd be hard to shout out for help because you've got your mask on. I mean, people wouldn't be. Muffled. Yes, that's what I said. Here.
Clean up in aisle 3, please.
Yeah, that's exactly right. A little bit like the chef from the Muppets, I think. That's probably what it's going to sound like, I'm imagining. But
and everyone's quite COVID safe here as well. They're not too worried about it because the numbers are quite low.
Yeah.
So
do you mean the numbers are quite low, as in the population in Townsville is so low, or do you mean the COVID numbers are so low?
Both. So the proportion is quite low of cases compared to the population, and the numbers are actually very low. They're only, let's say, 700 cases that are active compared to, what is it in Brisbane, 30,000. So I'm glad to be up here for the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yes.
Avoid COVID spread, because just before Christmas, I don't think I knew anybody personally or friends of friends who had COVID. Now I've run out of fingers of the people I know who have had COVID.
You're kidding.
So,
That's a direct contact. You actually know those people.
yeah, so over
Wow.
Christmas, so Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, by the way.
Oh, yes. Sorry, what was I
that's
thinking?
all.
HNY to you, my friend. HNY, sorry.
Yeah, so just before Christmas, my oldest and son and my wife were close contacts of people who got COVID, and so we all had to get tested on the Monday after Christmas, and so
Okay.
yeah, we're isolating for several days.
Was that PCRing or ratting, or what was the situation?
PCRing, and we so happened to pick the PCR that took about 5 or 6 days to get a result, and was subsequently closed down because they either lost PCR tests or mixed them up. And so, yeah, so they were found to be a little bit incompetent. So, yeah.
I think because the real focus of COVID sort of come off a little bit now, especially now, Omicron's done its thing, and there's so many cases around Australia, getting about 100,000. We don't want to speak too much about this because we'll go into it afterwards. But I was just going to say, I think maybe that's probably why the incompetence a bit, because they're sort of rusty on what they were doing.
Yeah, it's sort of sudden.
Well, it's not sort of automatic like it was before, because they'd sort of, came with it. But, okay, well, we won't go anywhere further down that road, but just on the Townsville side of things. So, okay, so it sounds like it's changed a lot. It was always, notorious for having fantastic pubs in the old days, those sort of things. And lots of bands would go up there, and there was, lots of places for comedians, some dodgy, some good. In the old days, especially.
That's missing, and obviously COVID doesn't help. That a lot of these pubs can't do shows and comedy and everything you've said, which is pretty sad. But hopefully that comes back.
It is sad. It is sad. I mean, I had an experience through my Christmas break when I saw a film, French Dispatch, which I highly recommend. But some people might go and see it and say, "I'm never going to listen to that man's review again." So, because it's what I call a moviegoer's movie, in that you've got to go and see a lot of movies in a broad sort of church of movies, if you like. You've got to be seeing thrillers, dramas, sort of gender focused movies. Not horror. I'm not really a horror. But arty, right across the span of just movies in general, to sort of enjoy French Dispatch. I mean, if you're quite an arty person, you probably would enjoy it. But I mean, it's so heavily dialogue based. The acting's awesome as well, but it's just a brilliantly written story, and it's really, really hard to review. But I will try to give it a go on what's on the box in a couple of weeks' time. I will try to be a little bit more succinct. But if you like to follow a story and things that are just a little bit out of the box, it's worth having a look at. I really enjoyed it anyway. So
did you say it was a French film?
No, it's not a French film. It's American film, but it's called French Dispatch because years ago the Liberty Kansas, I think it's called the Herald Times or something like that, was a paper. I think it was in the 1930s or 40s or something, and they had it was either an insert into that paper or another paper sort of coming out of that. That company who was doing the Liberty Kansas. And anyway, what happened was this insert is all French, not in French, but it's all about what's happening in Paris, mainly in Paris. It's a true story. It actually did happen, and there's they did quite a bit of research on the film, but obviously there's they've taken liberty on different things as well. But it's just it's really interesting. It's got five different stories that you follow. So
yeah.
So
Right.
yeah,
Save it for the review.
yeah. No, I will
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
and I'll get a bit of a lineup and all the rest of it. So,
Yeah.
but now I think it may be time for, because we've sort of alluded to it enough times. So I think we need to probably do something about it. Yes, so and we did discuss that on the COVID countdown. We will probably only do it once a month because we don't want to depress people 2 months, do we?
Yeah, too depressing.
They can do that by themselves. But I had some interesting. Unless there was anything you particularly wanted to start off with, I'm more than happy if you want to do that.
No, you go first. Happy for you.
No problems at all. So what I was going to say was that it was interesting because Brad Hazard quite a few weeks ago said that Brad Hazard from New South Wales, that most people are going to get COVID and there'll be 25,000 cases a day, et cetera, et cetera. And I imagine lots of people went, 25 a day. I mean, gee whiz.
Yeah.
Victoria pumped out 50 the other day. I mean, admittedly, it did have 26,000 rats that were, rapid antigen tests that were over 7 days or 6 days or whatever. But still, and New South, but the numbers are all over the place. If you look at the numbers at the moment, it makes no sense. I mean, Queensland had 18,000 one day, and then they had 11,000 the next day.
Yeah. And I think it's due to the fact that the load on the PCR testing sites are just so overwhelmed that some of them are shut down, like I alluded to earlier. Sydney had a few closures, I think 28 at one point. They closed in one day.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, early last week.
That's it. What a great way to keep the numbers down. Just shut all the centres so no one can go.
I reckon the next step will be let's just shut all the PCR tests and then we'll have no COVID.
No, that's exactly right. And that's really clever, actually, because obviously this government has taken their lead out of the Trump playbook, because that's what he thought as well.
Yeah,
he thought exactly the same thing. If you stop testing for COVID, you won't find COVID. No, well, exactly right. But the China virus. But actually, talking about the China virus, got some interesting things to say on that point of view. China has been getting many cases, and as we have alluded to in Chinese Takeaway on this show before, I think I had brought up that they were saying how low, or maybe you did, I can't remember, how low the cases were in China. And I said, I don't believe it. I said, it's just, they can't have that many, not have that many cases with 1.4 billion people. Anyway, it looks like they lied, but, who would have thought?
But so, what numbers are they saying now that they're
well, I think I read somewhere where someone was trying to get the information out to the Western world, and she was saying that the numbers are through the roof. But what they do, this was really good actually. They said that they didn't have any COVID in a particular suburb, or they didn't have any COVID in a particular town, because their leadership is even smarter than our leadership. And I can't believe our leadership haven't thought about this already. It's a really, really good idea. What you do is you get all your people that have got COVID and you move them to the quarantine centre. Now, their quarantine centre will take, I don't know, up to 1 million people or whatever. So
they're out of the city.
Move all your COVID people in there. And then you test the town again. No COVID. No COVID, no people. No.
Brilliant. I love the idea.
Brilliant. Yeah, I thought it was very clever. Very clever.
So we can repurpose Christmas Island for that.
Sorry, what was that?
We can repurpose Christmas Island for that.
Yes, I think that's a really good idea too. We should be doing things like that. Now,
I've read the other day that some cities in China had only like 3 or 4 cases, and they locked down the whole city for 3 days.
Yep.
And we complain here that that we've got restrictions, and look what they do. They only get 3 or 4. So yeah, we can't complain.
It's absolutely crazy stuff, Wentz. It really is. No, you're exactly right. We cannot. Yeah. There isn't any complaints that we can make. No doubt about that whatsoever. But we still do, obviously. I will say one thing though. Sorry, what was it?
Yeah. No, you go.
No, I was just going to say the one good thing is though we don't get the protests anymore.
Not unless you're a Djokovic fan.
Well, sorry, my bad. Yeah, of course. We're getting different types of protests. What was I thinking? Oh, look, I don't know. You know, honestly, I read the news, I think it was this morning or yesterday or something, and I said to the other half, I said, well, this is pretty enlightening news and extremely inspiring. Half of it's on COVID, the other half of it's on Djokovic. Yeah. I'm like, seriously, is there nothing else going on in the world that we can talk about? A multi-millionaire tennis player who admittedly is the best in the world, but he's also an asshole and doesn't get double vaccinated. And not only does he not get double vaccinated, on the day that he got COVID, he went and met a whole bunch of kids, and he went to an award ceremony, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. And, you know, I don't feel sorry for this guy at all. No. You know,
assuming he got COVID that day.
Sorry, what was that?
Assuming he got COVID, allegedly. I'd like to see the proof that he actually got COVID.
Well, apparently he was COVID, though. He was COVID positive, as it were.
Yeah.
But he gave COVID to a lot of tennis players, I think, in 2020 or 2021 when they had that big party as well. So, you know, I mean, even Kyrgios came out at the time and said, what a douchebag for doing, you know, something like that. You just, I mean, it's so selfish not thinking about anyone else but yourself.
He even organised his own tennis tournament in 2020. And, players got COVID at the time. So, no love lost for Djokovic in that respect.
Not at all. Not at all.
I was sitting on the fence. I think he, for the sake of sport, yes, he should be allowed in if he meets all the criteria. But the fact that he's not double vaxxed, which is part of our criteria, means he shouldn't be in here in this country. But then again, if the tennis tournament is in a bubble, then does it really matter that he's not vaxxed as long as he stays in the bubble? So I've been in two minds on that one.
Yeah, I suppose my care factor is so low that I just haven't spent enough time even thinking about it. So
better things to worry about in the world.
There's enough people on Twitter having a crack, so I just go, okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
I don't need to be part of this one.
Exactly.
This is a fight I don't need to be part of. But sorry, what was that?
I was just saying that I'm sitting out this one. I'm sitting on the bench.
Yes,
I don't on the sidelines.
Yes, you know me. I don't sit on the sidelines very often, but if I don't have a dog in the fight, I'm not particularly fussed. So, but one thing I will say though is panic buying has started again.
Yes,
but I don't know if it's necessarily on toilet roll. It could be, but all I know is that when I went to the supermarket, and it's got to be said that it didn't bother me in any way, shape, or form, but it was I did have a little chuckle to myself, being a smug little semi-vegetarian. as I went through the meat aisles, they were all nearly bare, and I could just see these people sort of trying to get to their meat, and you could see the tears just coming down their eyes. There was just nothing there. All I've got is a dodgy sausage. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And I sort of just went over and picked up a bean burgers as we normally would.
Fake meat? No.
No, well, that's it. That's it. I don't eat. I mean, it's better. I mean, it's better for us, but I'm not going to spout that everyone should be a vegetarian or etc. No. But it's definitely better for us. It's better for the world as well.
And that's some of that's caused by the staff shortages around the nation due to transport workers getting COVID, supermarket workers getting COVID, or in isolation because they're a very close contact. We've noticed the same thing here where, the shelves are largely empty in many aisles. Luckily for us, where we're staying here in Townsville, not 2 blocks away, there's a fresh seafood place. So, if we have to live off seafood for the next few weeks, so be it.
You'd be very upset about that being Chilean. I'd imagine you would love the old seafood.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we're going to have to try some of their fresh oysters.
That sounds good. I eat everything pretty much. I just don't eat a lot of meat nowadays, but I still eat fish. I don't eat a lot of fish, but I had some great fish the other night. I had a tuna, and then I sort of had an Asian marinade on it. It was far out amazing. It was so good.
We've been having sweet lips, whatever that is.
What have you been having?
Sweet
What's
lips.
it called?
Sweet lips. Sounds like something out of a...
Don't call me that on air. People start to talk.
As long as your better half doesn't hear.
She'd probably say, you can have him, it's fine. Don't worry. The best of him's gone. It's fine. Whatever's left, it's yours. It's all good. It's all good. Hey, I do have a bit of a question. Wency, he, him, gangster. What's gangster? I don't know what gangster is.
I don't know. Just came to my mind when I was typing out my name this evening.
But was it meant to be gangster? Did you forget the G?
Oh yeah, it's meant to be gangster.
Like you're so gangster, you don't put the G in gangster. That's pretty gangster. That's funny. Oh my God. I saw that and I just went.
Yeah, you caught me out.
I did. I just thought I'd ask. Oh, look at that. Gangster. Much better. I like that. Very
trying to be gangster. I was far from it.
No. Oh, I will just finish off just this last thing, which I did read the other day, which was interesting, was the CEO of Pfizer has basically come out publicly, said what we already know, but he said it publicly, which is 2 doses of Pfizer is not enough for Omicron.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no. And I read some really good news today on the COVID virus Omicron variant situation. You'll love this. The Pfizer on 2 doses is pretty much not stopping you from going to hospital anymore.
Okay.
With Omicron. And AZ is the same.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is doing is preventing you dying. So for me, that's a good reason to be vaccinated.
I think so. That trumps everything.
Yeah. But the infectiousness, i.e., transmissibility, et cetera, and prevention of hospitalization, unfortunately, not as high as we would like. So now you've had your critical 3rd dose, haven't you?
Yes, I had my booster just before Christmas. Yeah, the week before Christmas.
Oh, you're totally sorted. You're super COVID man.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good till the next one.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Whenever that gets approved.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I get my booster on Thursday. So
okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because I want to go back into the office a few days a week and just see if I can get COVID there. So,
are you getting Moderna or Pfizer?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I know it won't be AZ,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure. But one thing I will say though is I think it is probably around about.
And now it's time for When Nature Calls with Wancy and the Kickster on the new...
Oh, there, big fella. That's the wrong Nature Calling. Oh, right. Here is our new segment, Nature Calls. It's all about the wonderful world of... Wonderful world.
It's a good one.
Sorry, Wendy.
I do like that one.
That's a
I
good
do
one.
like that one. I do like that one. So yes, Wensless, it is your turn to talk about your animals. So let's rock on.
Time to talk about the weird and wonderful world of these little creatures that live on this planet. Now, because I'm in far north Queensland.
Oh yes, they're crawling on you now.
Oh yes. Hello, little tarantula. Yes, because there's so many up here. There's crocodiles. There's stingers in the when you go to the beach. Yes, but I'm not going to focus on those deadly ones.
Okay.
The one I want to talk about is a little fish, really pencil-like fish called the pearlfish. It's a little bit intrusive in that there's certain species of pearlfish that like to live up the backside of a where's my bloody nose? Of the sea cucumber. So sea cucumbers breathe through their anus, and the pearlfish likes to sleep and rest and protect itself in the anus of a sea cucumber.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
So they're only a few inches long and maybe half a centimeter or a centimeter width. So as the sea cucumber breathes in its bum hole, the fish will quickly move in and call it a night until it's ready to come out the following day. And I thought that was quite interesting.
That's a beautiful bedtime story. Thank you very much.
It is. I thought you might like that one. They are found around here and other parts of the world, but yeah, there's quite a few of them around. I don't know if I can share it, but I will see if I can.
Have you been swimming in the ocean up there at all? I mean, I think, is there a lot of crocs near the sea, or how does it work?
Oh
my God! What are we looking at? That is nuts.
So that yellow thing is the sea cucumber, and the little thing sticking out of its bumhole is the pearlfish.
What is it called?
Pearlfish. And the reason why it was called the pearlfish when it was first discovered, because they basically sleep in any crevice or crack or wherever there's a gap. And the very first one, when they discovered it, was in a pearl, in a shell. So they called it pearlfish. But there are certain species like this one that sleep in the butthole.
So the poor old sea cucumber, does it have any say in this? Is it consensual? It just sounds very rapey. It's not.
It does sound a lot wrong actually. It doesn't ask permission, and there have been some discoveries where up to 15 have been found inside, cohabitating together. So I can only imagine it would be quite uncomfortable for the poor sea cucumber.
That's one of the most disgusting things I've ever heard.
Isn't it?
And it looks even worse. So people that aren't online, because I don't think there are many, if any, but if there are, you can see that wonderful
on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to the podcast, we'll have the links in the show notes anyway, so you can go and have a look. But yeah, when it comes to the podcast, the picture I'm looking at, it looks like a giant potato that's got spikes on it that's sort of spongy, and there's this little weird just asparagus coming out of the end, and that is apparently the pearlfish, and it's just one of the most disgusting things I've ever heard of, seen, and don't really want to talk about it anymore. What else you got, Winsy?
That's all I had. I thought I couldn't top that off.
No, that's brilliant. That is really, really good. That is good. Really horrible, but good.
Over to you.
Absolutely, no problem. So I have got a couple of nice little stories here that I think you'll like, or maybe not. But this one is about can you see a picture at the moment?
Nope.
Good. That's all right. That's okay.
Excellent.
I'm happy with that. That's fine. That's all right. So, snakes feasting on toads.
Oh, right.
So the Asian kukri snakes use their knife-like teeth to slice into toads' abdominal cavities. Geez, we're all about cavities tonight, aren't we? It's a bit of a wicked program. And gobble down their organs, leaving little behind but an empty pouch of skin. The snakes sometimes spend hours gorging themselves on toads' innards. Specifically, scientists caught the snakes consuming poisonous toads called Dutaphrynus melanoscus, also known as the Asian common toads or Asian black-spotted toads. The toads secrete a toxic white substance, so the scientists suspect that the kukri snakes may have adopted their vicious eating strategy to avoid this poison. Well, I say, good on the snakes. Good on the snakes.
Can we bring that snake to Queensland and get rid of the bloody cane toads?
Yes, that'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? I just got a feeling that snake might eat a lot of things, though.
Yeah.
But I do think that would be a good idea. Talking about things eating a lot of things, I just thought I'd mention cannibalistic monkeys. The white-faced capuchin monkey looks absolutely darling with its deep brown eyes, tiny face ringed with white fur. But sometimes they have to eat their own. And, you know, we've all been there. You look in the fridge, there's not much there. You go, probably should eat someone in the family.
Where's my brother?
Yeah, exactly right. When an infant monkey fell from a tree in Santa Rosa National Park in Costa Rica, its relatives gathered around the corpse in interest. Soon enough, a young male and a pregnant female began nibbling at the infant's legs and feet. Are you okay? Are you all right? Oh, you are. Okay. Dinner. In the end, they left only the head, chest, and arms untouched. When hunting prey animals, the capuchins would usually consume an entire animal in one sitting and as a group, rather than just two monkeys eating part. Because of this, scientists suspect cannibalism may be an unusual behavior for the white-faced capuchins. You think? You think it may be unusual? It sounds a little bit unusual to me. And I'm having a little bit of a problem with the page. So I would put the picture is not as good as the graphic cucumber being fisted by the pearlfish. That's just horrible. but we will have those links in the show notes and the wonderful stories that I've just given you for bedtime kitties as well. We'll have those in the show notes as well. But look, I think we've gone on long enough tonight. So we do have our last segment, which is... Oh, you won't hear that, but you might hear it now. No, you won't hear that. No chance in hell. But I'll try it again.
Can't hear it yet.
Oh, didn't hear that one either.
No, I didn't hear that.
All right. Try. All right. 3 times the charm.
Okay. Can't hear anything.
You're not getting that either.
Have you shared the audio?
Oh, I don't know what's going on. That's not fair. That is just not fair, but that's okay. It's do yourself a favour.
Yeah.
Wency, would you like to, just so people know, do yourself a favour is all about the best and worst potties out there, but to be honest with you, we only really listen to the best. So Wency is going to lead off. Lead on, McDuff.
I was going to say, we've never, ever reviewed a bad potty.
Potty,
Otherwise
no.
you wouldn't listen to it.
No, it's exactly right. Exactly. Although I have had a crack at a couple and gone, I was listening to the guy that does all the should know his name. He's very famous. He does all the Simpson voices.
The show.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Shearer. Ed Sheeran? No.
No. Yeah, Harry Shearer.
Harry Shearer.
Yeah, I don't think it is Harry Shearer though. I think it's another one, and I can't. It might be Harry Shearer.
Right.
You could be well right, but I can't remember. But anyway, I started listening to his podcast, and apparently it's been going for years and years.
Mm.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
It didn't float.
I had the same one, and I just went, meh.
Did you do the Harry Shearer one too?
Yeah. No, I wasn't overly impressed.
No, and apparently it's been going for years.
Yeah, decades even. I think
it's
20
yeah.
years.
I don't know. It seemed, well, it's American, so it's really American centric.
Yeah.
I think
Maybe that's why I didn't get it.
Yeah, maybe that's exactly right. Anyway, I've taken over. I apologise. Go for it.
Speaking of not American centric, this one's very Australian centric. This one came up on my feed on Spotify, and I thought I'd have a listen. It's about Australian politics.
Who would have thought?
It was released a couple of years ago, and it's called The 11th. And the 11th refers to the 11th of November, 1975, when Gough was outed.
Yes.
Prime Minister.
Yes.
So there's 7 episodes, each ranging from about 40 to 60 minutes on average, and they just go through different parts of the dismissal and who was involved with what, and there's a bit of espionage going in there and things like that, and all the different actors that were involved in the whole play. So yeah, it's quite interesting. It's narrated by Vincent Mann, I think his name was, and yeah, it's quite interesting. Yeah,
well, it talks about how Gough brought women into the parliament, and how he brought a particular lady that I think ran the Ministry for Women or something when he was there for quite a long time. And, you know, they talk about obviously the debacle that was the Governor General, et cetera, et cetera. I think that was on a few years ago. Have you got a year on it when it was?
Yeah, it's 2020, so it came out a couple of years ago. But
yeah.
But yeah, it just popped up on my feed, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll give it a listen.
I also think that they, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think there was an ABC series on the 11th as well. So I think they did like a partnering podcast and a whole series like they did with, Annabelle Crabb's latest vehicle, which was, I think it's called Misrepresented. If you haven't seen it, it's well worth having a look at.
No, I keep meaning to see that one. That's one about the women
in politics.
In politics, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really, really brilliant. It goes right back to Judith Troth and some of the first sort of women to get into Parliament, and it gives you give you the history and et cetera, and you sort of just go, it's just amazing. I mean, you know, the ALP is about 50% women now, but obviously the LNP are a long way behind still. I think
Yeah.
they're like 26% Neanderthals. Anyway,
Yeah.
but it's hard to believe when you listen to Misrepresented and you listen to some of these really super bright, inspiring women. We just don't have even more than what we already have. But I think between you and I, that may change, and hopefully we'll get Mark Kelly on in a few weeks' time, and he'll talk to us about the independents. And because, as you probably know, I mean, all the ones that are running, well, not all, but very, very many of them are women.
I think all but one are women.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, isn't it?
As far as I know, but yeah. And hopefully we'll get him after the election's been called, and he can give us an update on how those candidates are going. Yeah,
I've reached out to him, and he's very happy to come back on and help us out there. So I wonder if he's going to talk to us via his yacht.
Possibly. I'd love to see him on his surfboard.
Yeah, he must be a pretty good surfer, I imagine.
Yeah. Well, he's a bit of an entrepreneur, and and what's the other word?
Raconteur,
the one where you donate money and your time.
Oh, philanthropist.
Philanthropist, that's it.
Yeah. No, he's a bit of an all-rounder from that perspective. Very bright man too. He's right across so many sort of political discussions, and right across the gamut of sort of climate change policies and issues, and not just your normal sort of political health and what's going on with the monetary policy, blah blah blah. He's right across quite a few issues. I've seen many of his tweets, and I've seen some of the stuff that he writes in LinkedIn as well. So we're very lucky to get him last time, and it'll be really good when we get him again. I've got a couple of things I just want to finish with, because we've just about to wrap up. So what I wanted to talk about was Juice Media Podcast on YouTube. There is a YouTube that you would have seen, and thousands of people have seen, and it's oh my god, I can't believe I cannot remember what it's called, but the YouTube channel is done by Juice Media, and it's a piss take on what's happening in the government at the time. So the last one that was on is, what does a hung parliament mean? Because there's a moderately good chance we may get one. And so I highly recommend that you have a look. And I'll put these in the show notes as well, of course. And we may get a hung parliament. And so their videos always explain it really succinctly and with some good detail. And also with quite a lot of swearing. So it's always yes. They use shit fuckery a lot, which I like. That's a good word. It's a very good word.
Yes. We use that a lot around here.
Yeah, well, it describes a lot of situations, and the shit show that we're in now.
That's been going on for 2.5 years.
The bin fire that is COVID. But anyway, Juice Media, really good. So I was listening to, I don't know if it's the latest one, but I was listening to one tonight. I had Simon Holmes a Court on, who is the Climate 200 guy. I don't know if you know the Climate 200. So it's really good. I mean, you just get more detail on the independent situation, and he's been talking about how the candidates are chosen, and how the voices of work, and et cetera, et cetera. It's been really good, and that sort of dovetails on the transit zone that we've talked about a little bit on this show before. And they had another independent on the other night, talking about those things as well. So if you like your politics and you like a laugh at the same time, definitely listen to the Juice Media podcast. And just throw another one in really quickly, the Chaser Report. The Chaser Report is doing a summer series at the moment, and the summer series is all about stunts that I used to do years ago. Very, very funny, and also sounds very, very painful. And they'll be back in the new year as well, and they do 2 shows a day. So that's well worth looking out for.
I don't know how they do that. 2 shows a day.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure either. I don't know either. But we probably need a little bit of this, Wency, and then we'll just have to close up.
Let's hope we can hear it. Can't hear a thing.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
It was working earlier. Come on, technology.
Yeah, no,
Can't
everything
start
was
the year like this.
everything was good. Yeah, no, we were all
Well,
good. What I think I know what's happening here. What we'll do? Let's try it this time.
Hey, Bladsters, Wency here. You've been listening to the
No.
New Blurt with myself
Yes.
and the Kexter. Like what you've been listening to? Subscribe to all of our social channels on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. All the links are in the show notes, and our podcast is released every Monday, so look out for it in your best podcast app. The New Blurt is a Get Off the Grass production.
It is a Get Off the Grass. I can't even say it. It is a Get Off the Grass production. And nicely said, Wency. The other thing I wanted to say is Oz Institute, we had Hannah Melville Ray on, as you know, later in the year of 2021. And the Oz Institute now have another channel called ozinstitute.tv. So, yeah, you can see a whole bunch of different webinars there for free. And I think you can... Yeah, and they're interactive as well. There's a lot of people turning up. There's like 500 or 600 on some of these webinars, so worth having a look at. And
they must be those webinars that they do every Tuesday and other days as well that they then post online.
No, I think you are correct. I think you're correct.
Nice.
Would you be able to just take the show for a second, Wency? I just need to.
Yep. All right. So just to let all you guys know out there in the ether, next week's show we have What's on the Box, Party in the USA, and some good news for a change. So just to get rid of all this COVID countdown rubbish that we will have good news. So tune in next week and we'll hopefully lift up your spirits. So, yes. Well, that's our first show for the year.
Sorry, what was that?
That's our first show for the year done and dusted.
It is done. So I will say, sayonara all. We'll see you next week. Wency told you what's on the show.
Yep.
Come and listen. It'll be brilliant. The potty will be out on Monday. We'll definitely have a couple of guests coming up very, very soon. So stay tuned to Twitter and YouTube. Later.
Yes.
See you, Wency.
Peace out. Ciao.